When you think of Somerset, you can't help but think of cheddar cheese. With the earliest records being dated back to the 12th century, the process of making and maturing the cheese is famous around the world. In particular, in its use of the natural cave systems that are common in the area. So I think it's time to go check out these caves and find me some delicious cheese. That's amazing, look at this. It's huge. All in the name of cheese. Cheese, you need cheese. Whoa. Oh, cheese.
Welcome to our cheese chamber. The environment of the cave is perfect for maturing the cheese. Our cheese needs an ambient temperature of 10 degrees, which it is in the cave all year round. In this environment, it's a perfect humidity to grow the moulds that we need to create a lovely rind on the cheese. The cheese will then take on the flavour of the cave.
Are we able to taste some of that cheese?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Brilliant. It's like, this is the original cheese stick. Isn't that? Mmm, delicious. Oh my goodness me. It's so rich and it's so soft. You do get a sort of nuttiness to it. You get a sort of little bit of earthiness to it. You get the sort of creaminess and richness. But really very good, very delicious indeed.
And that is the flavours that are taken on from being in the cave as well.
Originally, the cheese could only be called cheddar if made within a 30-mile radius of Wells Cathedral. So, I think we should head that way now. The city of Wells is often described as England's smallest city and is arguably one of the most beautiful. Home to the magnificent Wells Cathedral, I'm off to meet Clive Howarth, who's an expert on all things Wells. Who do I have to pray to get to heaven?
The guy right at the top, in the middle. Neither side
the one who's
of him,
doing the surfy sign?
Yeah, that's Jesus.
Is
And
that...
either side of Jesus are two six-winged angels called seraphim. And then you see a whole row of 12. Guess what? The 12 apostles. And can you see one with a big cross?
Yes.
Because he is St. Andrew. This is St. Andrew's Cathedral. This whole thing was one great visual aid to becoming a Christian.
What is this place? This is amazing.
This is called Vicar's Close, and it's probably the finest still lived in medieval street in Europe.
I had no idea this even existed. No. This is quite amazing. It's so cool. Adjacent to the cathedral, you will find the Bishop's Palace, which has been the residence for the Bishop of Bath and Wells since the 13th century.
It's about as angelic as I get.
This is the Bishop's Palace Gardens, and this is the well that names Wells. And it's just beautiful. The bells of Wells. That signifies dinner time. That's why the bell rings. And inspired by my time around Somerset, cheese, everything else, I'm going to make a savoury pancake. And it's going to have some ham, some shallots, finish the whole thing with rocket. But a pancake is a very, very simple thing to make if you know how. But what you've got to do is you've got to mix the wet mixture first, then the dry mixture, and then you put the wet with the dry, and then you won't get any lumps. Let's get the dry done first. Mix salt, sugar, baking powder, and half the flour. Whisk that together to avoid any clumping. And then the other half the flour, and that's the dry mixture all done. Mix 3 eggs with a bit of oil, whisk them together, and add the buttermilk and some milk. It's enough to be able to feed the family for brunch, breakfast, or lunch. Combine the wet mix with the dry mix, and then add some melted butter. You'll see already at the top of this, you'll see that there's little bubbles starting to appear. And those little bubbles in top there tell me that the pancake batter is ready to go. So, fry pan, make sure it's hot, a tiny bit of oil into the pan. You just take that and you rub it so the pan has just got a little tiny bit of oil on it. We want it to be a cheese pancake. So, take a good amount of cheddar cheese, sprinkle it across the top, so just fold it through so there's little flecks. And just start in the centre of the pan and drop it in and let it go. Before too many bubbles begin to appear, indicating that it's cooked, add the cheese, shallots and ham and leave them to sink into the mixture as it rises. Once the outside starts to turn brown and the mixture begins to bubble, it's time to turn. Look at that for a pancake. They look amazing. Once you've turned it, it really is only a matter of minutes. If you cook them too much, they can go dry. And we start to make a stack. Look at that. Bacon, shallots, lovely bits like that. A bit of rocket across the top. From Wookey Hole to Wells, cheese pancakes, delicious.